Hey guys, this is my first ever Yu-Gi-Oh video, and it's a deck profile on one of my favorite decks, and it's the deck that I'm currently using. It is Rockets. Now, Rockets aren't really that well known in this format right now, but I'm going to show you just a casual budget deck that you can assemble with just the Rocket Revolt structure deck and just a few cards off a TCG player that are really cheap, honestly. This is a budget deck, so you're not really going to see that good of an extra deck. This is what I could make with the cards that I had. I was going to buy Guard Dragon LP and Guard Dragon Pisty, but I didn't have any money at the time. I was broke. So right now this is just this is the deck that I currently have. However, this deck will change. But of course, we're going to always have 3 Rocket Tracers. These Rocket Tracer is like one of the most overpowered cards in this deck because it's a quick effect card, which it can pop itself and then get a Rocket Monster from your deck, which is just absurd. So you can get that pretty much on your first turn, just get a different card and then bring chaos. However, what I would recommend not doing was popping Rocket Tracer itself because, well, you can do that, but you're just trading one off for another monster, and Rocket Tracer is really good, especially paired with Rotor Dragon. Rotor Dragon, oh god. We're also playing 3 of this card. You can pop this card by just with Rocket Tracer, and you can send that to the graveyard and you get a Rocket Monster from your deck. And you can special summon this card from your hand if you have a Rocket Monster on the field, which is just amazing. So since we're playing 3 of these, you'll most likely have one of these in your hand. And some other Rocket Monster. And if you do that, then you just have enough material to bring out an extra deck monster on your first turn and build up your board. If not, then you can actually go full combo with Rocket Tracer. These 2 cards right here can give you literally full combo. It's amazing. However, now we're going to start getting into the next card. 3 Magnum Rockets. Now, what Magnum Rocket does, it's basically another way for us to send rocket monsters to the graveyard when we special summon it. And when it, not special summon, when it goes to the graveyard by a certain card effect, when it goes to the graveyard, we can discard another card and then activate another rocket effect because this deck is purely rockets. So if we decide to discard another rocket card that has, let's say, for example, Silver Rocket. Now, what Silver Rocket does, a lot of people don't really use this card that much, which I really wish they did at my locals, per se. They don't really use it that much, which is sad because this card is really good. You can discard this card with this effect, and then you can discard this card, and basically what you can do is banish an extra deck monster from the extra deck on the same turn, as well as get 2 free rocket monsters since they're both in your graveyard by card effect, and just recycle. You can recycle these cards with other rocket monsters, such as Keeper of the Shrine or Rocket Recharger, which Rocket Recharger is very nice. It's basically just Keeper of the Shrine, but exclusively for rocket monsters, and it's a little bit different from Keeper of the Shrine. I just haven't read this card enough, but I have played it and I do know what it does. But I will do a full deck explanation and combo use on this card in another video. Alright, so now, the next card that we're going to be playing are 2 Rocket Synchrons. Now, these Rocket Synchrons are level 1 0/0 0 attack and 0 defense cards. However, this effect is so good. What you can do is when this card is normal summoned, not special summoned, normal summoned, you can target 1 level 5 or higher Dark Dragon monster in your graveyard and special summon it. That's not a normal monster, that is just a Dark Dragon monster. So that even opens up to your extra deck, which is full of Dark Dragon monsters, might I add. This is a Dark Dragon deck, which is very good. Alright, so now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be playing 1 copy of Metal Rocket Dragon, 1 copy of Auto Rocket Dragon, and 1 copy of Shell Rocket Dragon. Now, what Shell Rocket Dragon does, sorry, what Shell Rocket Dragon does is that it basically just you can pop it, and then whatever column this was in, if there was a monster or spell or trap in the opponent's column that is same as this, you can pop it with Rocket Tracer and just get rid of that side, which is amazing. And all these cards have the effect of, if it was in the graveyard by a card effect, you can just summon another rocket monster from your deck. Some say the graveyard, I don't know which. It's been a little while since I read these card effects. But yeah, that wraps up for pretty much all the rockets in the deck. There is a lot, except for Absolute Dragon. He's the only non-rocket one so far. So we're just gonna get all these rockets, and we're going to get 2 Gateway Dragons. Gateway Dragon is really good because we mostly have level 4 or lower monsters in our hand most of the time, so, or pretty much all the time, because it's only level 4 or lower monsters in our deck, which, might I add, is very good and very high for consistency for our synchro summons. I forgot to mention Rocket Tracer is also a tuner, which is so good. But when we normal summon this card right here, we can special summon a Dark Dragon monster from our hand, and guess what our deck is about? So it is very good. Now we're obviously going to be playing 2 Keeper of the Shrines, which are they're pretty amazing. You can tribute. This costs us 2 tributes. So say for example, if you need like a synchro monster in our extra deck right now. So I'll explain later once we get on to the extra deck monsters. Alright, so now we're going to also be playing Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Obviously, you could just banish a card, which is very good in this deck, might I add. I forgot to mention, I believe, banishing cards in this deck is really good because, well, we have an extra deck monster that takes advantage of that. And then 1 Ruler of the Storm. Now, what Ruler of the Storm does is that you can banish cards, again, from your hand, I believe, which is very good for our deck. Or send them to the graveyard, I don't know. But if to the graveyard or to the banish zone, they are really good. And you can bring this guy out, and you can use him as a material, a beat stick, or whatever. He's just really good to have. Very nice indeed. And I like that he only comes in secret rare because his card art is amazing. I love this design very much. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get into the extra deck. So I'm going to take 1 Keeper of the Shrine, and I'm going to explain to you once we get the extra deck out. Alright, so now, first extra deck monster, 1 copy of Borlode X-Charge Dragon. Now what X-Charge Dragon does is that it you can separate 1 material and decrease a 1/600 or like 1 monster from 600 attack and defense, which is really good. Better than the 500, even though it's 100 less. That means a lot still. You can detach 1 material, and then you can summon a Boral monster from the graveyard, which we will most likely have, which is pretty amazing. So now we're going to get on to the synchros. That was the only extra used card. So first we're going to be playing Hot Red Dragon, Archfiend, King Calamity. He is really good because you just summon him and you negate everything. It's just amazing, and it's really good. But the way we do that is you realize, well, we also need a synchro Dark Dragon monster. Well, don't worry, I got you, bud. We got Beazle of the Diabolical Dragons. He's really good to bring out on your first turn because it just builds your board, and if attack solving this card, you can just gain life points from it. It's pretty amazing. So yeah, we have this, and then our third and final synchro card is Void Ogre Dragon. Now this is a it's a card that really never gets brought up, which is interesting because it's not a once per turn effect. Surprisingly in this deck, you're going to end a lot of turns without any cards in your hand. So you can just negate everything and your opponent cannot do anything at all. Which I'm surprised nobody has played this card more because it's just so good. Although it means you have no cards in your hands. However, it's just still going to be that good. Now we're going to get on to the fusions. Now we have Borreload. We are playing 2 copies of Borreload Furious Dragon, which, of course, you know what it means to just, it just means to bring these out with total ease, which is just amazing. And you can target like a Link monster in your Dark Graveyard by banishing that card, banishing Borreload Furious Dragon, and you can just bring them back, which is really good. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that King Calamity right here works very well with Keeper of the Shrine, because this costs us 2 tributes, so you just summon them and special summon from the graveyard in defense position. Whenever a dragon monster gets sent to the graveyard, you just special summon them, and then if you also have a tuner, or if you have 2 tuners and a Dark Synchro monster, you can just bring them out with ease. It's really nice. So yeah, that's what he was for, but also just to bring out another dragon monster as material and then bring him back. This deck is, it's budget, but I can see people playing it competitively. This is gonna be really strange for you guys, but Cyber Dark Dragon, I know this makes not a lot of sense in an idea, but you basically can you just bring this guy out with Polymerization, because there's no cap to this guy with Polymerization, so you can just bring him out, or Super Poly. You can bring him out, and then you can bring a Dark Dragon from the graveyard and equip it to this card, and he gains attack to it. So say, for example, Void Ogre Dragon gets destroyed. You can bring him back, and then he gains 3,000 life points, and then Cyber Dark Dragon has 4,000 attack, which is just a beat stick. It's just a beat stick option. So that was our final fusion. Now we're going to get into the links. We're going to be playing Striker Dragon, just one, because, well, it's a link 1 and you can easily get it out with no problem at all. This is just a boot sector launch search. We only play 1 booster sec launch because, well, I mean, we only need 1. So we play 1. We play 2 copies of Borreload Dragon, 2 copies of Quad Borreload Dragon. I don't know if it had an errata on its name. The Dual Link websites that he used, like Dual Link Nexus and stuff like that, they say that it has. I don't really know, but we play 2 of these, and you can target itself and just like you discard 1 card, target itself, and then you could just summon a Rokket monster pack from the grave. So that's amazing. You can get that back. And then we play 2 copies of Topological Zero Boros. Now I was planning on just limiting it to 1 with a different extra deck card, which I plan on getting, which will most likely be Guard Dragon Pisty and Guard Dragon Alpi. By just getting rid of one of the Borreload cards, most likely will probably be Borreload Furious Dragon and one of Topological Zero Boros. So Zero Boros, think of it as our Link boss monster. It gains 200 attack for every banished card, not monster, card, and you cannot special summon to the sides of the Link monster. So if you put it in your extra monster zone, which you most likely will, you can just negate any special summon to the side of the field, of either field, which is good for us, because if we special summon cards from there, we just keep on adding attack to this card, which is amazing. Now we that pretty much wraps up everything. So this deck is heavily reliant on banishing cards, unbeknownst to me. So yeah, first, before we get into the spells, we're just going to go ahead and get into the traps. 1 copy of Link Restart. I know a lot of people don't really play this card, but when a spell or trap card is activated, or a monster effect is activated, you just inflict damage. You just inflict damage that would inflict damage to me or yourself, that you would just negate the activation if you do special summon 1 Link monster from your graveyard, which we have a lot of those, so it's pretty good. Alright, so we're just gonna move the traps out of the way. Then 2 copies of Zero Day Blaster. You distribute a Dark Link monster, and then you could just get rid of cards on the field according to its link rating. And now we're going to get into the spells, and I will wrap up everything after I do just a personal analysis of my side deck. Alright, so Rapid Trigger, 1 copy of Rapid Trigger, basically just a poly for Rockets to bring out a Borreload Furious Dragon, 1 Foolish Burial, because, well, we want to get effects popping off that just disrupt everything. Squib Draw, another card where we can just draw 2 cards after we destroy a rocket monster, which will activate another rocket effect. 2 Dragon Shrine, which is very good. Now we have 2 polys. I don't really like to use super poly in this deck because, well, it complicates things. So no. 2 copies of Boral Supplier, 1 copy of Boot Sector Launch, which we only need 1 because of Striker Dragon. We can just search for it immediately on our first turn, and then special summon 2 rockets from our hand. Then Beginning of the End, which if we have 7 or more Dark Dragon monsters in our graveyard, we can just banish 5 Dark Dragon monsters from our deck, and then the Topological Zero Bros gets stronger, and then we play 3 copies of Quick Launch, which we can just bring out a rocket monster from our deck, and oh boy, is that such a good card, because we can just bring them out and they pop themselves once they're done, and their effects go off. It's amazing. So yeah, that's the deck. That's currently the entire deck right now. It will change. I will do an analysis again on this deck because, yet again, this is my favorite deck that I have currently, or one of my favorites, beside my Sacred Beast one. So now I have Fusion Reserve as a trap card. This is the side deck, by the way. This is just a personal analysis of my side deck. We have Fusion Substitute, and then we have Soul Absorption, and Link Bound, and Monster Gate, another copy of Boot Sector Launch, another copy of Beginning of the End, Proxy F Magician, and 2 Triple Burst Dragons. Now, if you want to stop and look at these cards, I will. However, I will explain why I have such as I mean, of course, Boot Sector Launch, the second copy, Boot Sector Launch and the Beginning of the End makes sense. You might be wondering why I have Fusion Substitute and Fusion Reserve. Reveal 1 fusion monster into your extra deck and add 1 of the fusion materials listed on that card from your deck to your hand, and then add 1 polymerization from your graveyard to your hand. So we basically can just reuse polymerization, which is what I decided to do. And then we also have Fusion Substitute. Fusion Substitute is good because this card gains this card's name is always treated as poly. Fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters you control as fusion materials. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 fusion monster in your graveyard, and then return it to the extra deck and then draw 1 card. Which, yet again, this deck is very, very good by banishing cards, which makes Topological Zero Bros the best. Alright guys, that's all I have to say. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Give a like and a comment and subscribe if you will. Thank you so much. And the next deck profile will probably be a Junk and Scrap Synchron deck. These are all personal decks that I've been playing recently. And then the next one after that will most likely be my Sacred Beast deck. So yeah, peace.